Good morning. December the 27th, 5:50 in the morning. Hope everybody's been having a good holiday. I made a video the other day. Been a while since I made another one before that. But I make these videos, and I'm probably going to repeat myself, and I apologize. I have a bad habit of that. I've just got a terrible memory. And I've made quite a few videos speaking on my journey and things I've witnessed and experienced. But when I make these videos, just whatever comes to my head. I'm not really sure what I was going to speak about this morning. I'm not even sure if I'm going to save this video because I'm not sure how it's going to turn out. A lot of videos I make, I don't save, I don't post on YouTube because it just didn't come out right. Maybe the ego got involved more than the spirit. I try to make these videos in the mornings because I'm still kind of fresh into my subconscious, not long out of meditation and reading the Word. I've been reading the Word now for quite some time, speaking on the Bible. And I'm not a religious person. I've said this before. I don't believe in putting my faith in a man. Through this whole journey, the spiritual journey that I've been on, it's always been God. I've always turned to God for answers and asked God for answers. And if it doesn't feel right, if it doesn't seem right, I won't proceed with that. That's God's way of saying, okay, something's not right. So typically your intuition, whatever your gut is telling you, that's God speaking to you. I've gotten really close to God during my spiritual journey. And I've really got close to God from the very beginning. After being brought up in a religion and them telling you that certain things could be evil or could be wrong, understanding this coming from a business, and of course a business is going to want you to have their business, so they're going to say certain things to you. So I wanted to make sure that what I was doing was correct in God's eyes. So I connected to God really early in my spiritual walk, especially from the very beginning. And I connected to God very strongly. And I also connected to Jesus the man. I was very fascinated with him, and I was reading the Word and reading different scriptures. People were telling me to read this scripture and read this scripture, and I would read it, and I got some knowledge off of it and got some blessings from that. I'm well aware that the Bible's old, and I'm not even necessarily sure that the Bible is old. I mean, I know it's been around for a while, and I know it's been written for a while, but they've got so many different interpretations of the Bible, and it has been written by man. And I understand that, and this has been something that I've been discussing with God for quite some time, and I'm well aware that the Bible is old, and it is written by man. And it was written in English, and we know that the Bible being written in English is probably not correct. More than likely it's not correct, because in the Bible days there was no English. It was in the Middle East. I'm pretty sure it was the Middle Eastern part of the country, or the world, and there was no English being spoken. So if the Bible was written, it wasn't written in English. And I know that I have read certain languages or heard certain languages spoken and interpreted in English, and it's not the same. So I understand that it's probably not 100% correct, but God is going to speak to you. God's going to speak. He's going to figure out every way that He can to speak to you. He knows, and He's well aware that people have a lot of thoughts going on in their heads. And He knows that with all the mess that's going on in your mind, all the things that you do not need to be worried about or be thinking about, because it's not going to do you any good. It's hard for you to hear God speak when you're thinking about the day, worried about the money, where you're going to get your money from to pay your bills, feed your children, whatever. And these things that are going on in your head, it's like if you're having a conversation with somebody, it's hard for you to hear them when you're speaking. It's like almost like you're speaking over them. You can't hear them speak if you're speaking over them. The same goes with God. If God is speaking to you, it's hard for you to hear them if you're speaking over Him. And I don't mean literally speaking. I'm not speaking on literally. I'm speaking about in your mind. If you're talking to yourself in your mind, speaking on thinking about the day and the next day and the day after that and the day before that, months from now, years from now, whatever, all things that you do not need to be thinking about, because it's not doing you any good. It's either dead and gone, or it just hasn't got here yet. So God, or let's say man, wrote a book with words in it that represent God by man. And we all know that me being raised in a church, I know that God can speak through a man, because there's been many times that I've been in church and listened to the pastor preach, and it's almost kind of like he's speaking to me personally. And I'm sure there are other people that have been in church and heard the pastor preach and have experienced the same situation as I have. And that is God giving you a message. That's God speaking through the pastor to speak to you. I needed to hear that. That's what I needed to hear. Like I said, I'm not religious, and you don't need to go to church for God to speak to you. But I just so happened to be at a service where I heard the preacher preach a sermon that I needed to hear. That's God speaking to you. God used that man to send me a personal message. And this can go with anything. You could open up Facebook, Instagram. You could be going down the road and see a vehicle go by you, and there'll be a quote on it, and you needed to see that. That's God's way of speaking to you. That's God giving you a message. I needed to see that at that very moment. Just like these numbers that you see, and I'm sure there are people familiar with these numbers that I'm speaking on. They're called synchronicities. And anything that's coincidental, if I go to church, hear a pastor preach, I needed to hear it. If I go down the road and I see a billboard sign that spoke to me, I needed to see that. If I'm going down down the road or whatever, and a white feather falls from the sky out of nowhere, that's God speaking to you. That's God giving you a message. So I know that God can work through a man to speak to you. And the same goes for the Bible. It is written in English and it is old, but it is a tool that God uses to speak to you. And there are some great messages in there. There are some great quotes and parables in there that you can read and can give you a good godly message. And if you go into reading the Bible in the mindset of saying, okay, this is written by man, this is just a bunch of nonsense, this is really not doing me any good, then it's not going to do you any good. The same concept can go for seeing these synchronicities as far as numbers go: 444, 1111, 222, 333, so on. The same thing can go on with those numbers as well. If you have that mentality and saying they're just numbers, then that's all they will be, is just numbers. But how often do you see these numbers in synchronicities or in sequence? Not very often. That's God speaking to you. That's God trying to get your attention. So if you're reading the Word, there are some good messages in there. If you're reading the Word and you see something that sticks out to you, wow, that's pretty incredible. I needed to see that. That's God speaking to you. A lot of people have got a lot of stuff going on in their heads. A lot of things, a lot of words, a lot of messages, a lot of, chatter. So that's why God created man to write a book, to give you good love and peace message. And I understand there's not a whole lot of love and peace in the Bible, and I get that, but there are messages in the Bible. There are great things that are in the Bible. Jesus the man was an amazing man. He was a badass too, and he bent the rules, and he wasn't much on the rules or the laws. That's what got him killed. So if you go into the Bible in the mindset of saying, okay, I'm going to read this and I'm going to try to get a message from God, I'm going to read this parable or this verse or this book, and I'm going to go in it trying to gather knowledge, then you will get knowledge. If you're looking for the negative, you'll find it. If you're looking for the positive, you'll find that. And that goes with anything and anybody. Everybody's got negative and everybody's got positive. And if you're looking for the negative, you will find it. I promise you. Nobody's perfect. We're all humans, and we all have our faults. And so if you're going in with that mindset, you won't accomplish anything. So I've been reading the Word for a while now, and I'm taking it serious. I'm gathering some information. I've been really stuck on Jesus' words in the Bible. Jesus' words is always in the red letters: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And I keep reading these over and over and over again. And I've been doing this from the very beginning. And when I'm doing this, when I have started doing this, I have this special gift, and I'm not bragging and I'm not patting myself on the back, but I have this special gift that when I read words, I connect very well to the energy that were put into those words. So if I'm reading the words of Jesus, and I know he didn't write those words, but in my mind, I'm thinking, that's Jesus actually speaking to me. So it's like I am connecting to him personally. Him and I are having a personal relationship now. So I read his words, and I'm taking it to heart, and I've connected to him. And I made sure that from the very beginning that I started this spiritual journey, that I connected directly to God himself. So, as doing so, I have gathered a relationship with him, Jesus the man. So much so that I have actually seen him. And I'm not 100% certain that that's him that I'm seeing. But I have seen a man that fits a description of a man that they describe in the Bible as to be Jesus. And I've seen him several times. And I've connected to him several times. And I know that I've seen him. I've experienced it. And I saw something one time. And I don't know if I've mentioned this in one of my videos, and I have. I'm sorry. I see things sometimes when I'm laying in bed, and I'll be staring into darkness. And I'll see these images pop up in my vision, in my, like, I can see it. I actually can see this in front of me. This isn't in my mind. This is actually something that comes to me out of the darkness. And on multiple occasions, I've seen what looks like a half man and half lion. And I've seen this multiple times. And the first time I saw it, something said Lion of Judah. In Christianity, they describe Jesus, the man, as the Lion of Judah, if I am not mistaken. I've seen this multiple times. I also saw one time appear in front of me, and I'm laying in bed and I'm looking up at the ceiling, just into the darkness, pitch dark. And I see this man appear to me. And from what I can tell, this particular man is hanging on a cross. And I can see what looks like a crown of thorns, and he's looking down at the ground. He's not looking at me, and he doesn't look at me the whole time. He's just looking. I can see this. And as he looks up, I see an expression on his face of nothing but pain and sorrow and sadness. It was just ultimate sadness and pain and sorrow. And as he's looking up, he looks up toward the heavens, and he says, "Father, why have you forsaken me?" And this is pretty dark, and it's dark in my room. And when I see these images, even though they're in the dark, I can tell what's going on. I can tell the situation and everything. And I saw this, and I could tell that when this happened, it was dark. It was dark outside. I don't know if it was late in the evening or early in the morning, and I'm not sure. I don't know. I know the Bible describes this, but why I saw it, I don't know. So since I've been connecting to Jesus, the man, I've been seeing these things. I've seen Jesus appear to me multiple times, and he's always staring me in the face. And I describe him as Jesus because he looks like it would be a Jesus, the man, not white. Brown, dark skin, dark eyes, brown eyes. I had an incident happen to me this morning. I'm sorry, I'm going to change the subject, but this is really odd. Laying in bed this morning, and I had this woman come to me, and she had green eyes, and she wasn't a very older lady. An older lady, I'd say probably in her 30s. And she had very bright green eyes. They were shiny. I can see them. They were shiny. They looked like stars, but they were green. Really strange. And I heard a name, Mandy Martin. I don't know who that is. Actually, what I thought I heard Mandy Mart, but Mandy Martin came in. I don't know who that is. I had some spirit come to me, and she was just looking at me. Mandy Martin. Really strange. I don't know who that was. I don't know anything about it. But, sorry, I changed the subject. But if you're going to read the Bible, don't go into it thinking that this is foolish. This is just written by man. How else is God going to speak to you? God's going to speak to you in every way that he possibly can. He can actually speak to you with a voice. I've heard it before. And that's the whole point of meditation. When you meditate, you're clearing your thoughts. When you start clearing your thoughts to no more chatter, then that's when you start to experience things. That's when God speaks to you. And I've gotten really good at this, and he speaks to me all the time. So I wasn't sure where I was going with this video. I know that I wanted to speak about the Bible several times, because I know there's a lot of people that don't really believe in the Bible, because they go into it thinking, okay, it's just written by man, which it is. But it is old, it is ancient. There's some great things in there that you can read and gather knowledge from. And if you go into it with a negative mindset, it's going to be negative. So try to change your mind up when you go into reading the Word. Go into it trying to gather knowledge, study it, whatever it is you got to do, study it, research it. There's some great knowledge in there. I hope everybody enjoys their day in their life, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your holiday. I love you guys very much. I'm not hard to get a hold of, and I hope you enjoy your day. I love you. Godspeed.